there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, a Christmas horror movie podcast. I'm Jay Logsden.
And I'm Jeff Searcy.
And I think we need to start off this episode with a big apology from Jeff. West Ham fucking did it, you guys. They fucking won the goddamn trophy. They fucking brought it home. Jeff forgives England for every bad thing he's ever said about them. Because West Ham fucking brought the trophy home. They did it. Fucking Said Benrahma scored a penalty, and then Jared Bowen in the 90th minute broke an offside trap to slot the ball home. And after the referee decided to fucking add 5 minutes of added time, and then for whatever reason gave like 3-4 minutes on top of it, we were in like the 99th minute, and he finally decided to blow the goddamn whistle. And West Ham have lifted their first trophy in over 40 goddamn years, their first European trophy in over like, what, 50 goddamn years. They fucking did it, you guys. They fucking brought the trophy home, and I've rarely been happier than I am.
Well, if certain memes I've seen are to be believed, it's simply a tin-pot European trophy.
Yeah, and West Ham won it.
Well, congratulations to them and to you, but I'm still not forgiving that blighted island.
You're still not forgiving them for things like The Children and Nutcracker Massacre.
Oh, let's not forget Mother Krampus.
Oh, and Fruit Purchase.
Yeah, fruit peaches.
Well, to kind of make up for some of that shit we've seen recently, this week's episode we decided to go something a little more fun, a little more interesting. Certainly a classic of the genre, of the Christmas horror genre. This week we decided to go with Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Punish.
And so let's deck the halls. We'll set the scene. Kind of set up talking about the movie here. First things first, November 9th, 1984 release date. So, you know, right around, I would say right around that, right in that sweet spot of time.
Yeah.
It's just after Halloween, so, you know, people still are kind of wanting to go see scary movies just before Christmas. You know, it's right in the sweet spot, I think, for Christmas horror movies. You could maybe put it a little later, so it's in, you know, it would have been in theaters. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that pounding, by the way. They're doing some work outside my house right now, so if you hear the occasional pounding, that's what that is. But anyway, yeah, just I would say, you know, a real would have been a perfect spot to put the movie.
It would have been if other things hadn't have happened.
You know, and as I will get into it, but released the same day as A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oof.
Adapted from a short story about a killer Santa called He Sees You When You're Sleeping by Paul Kamey.
I believe so.
And then writer Michael Hickey is also credited as the writer on Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. But that's probably because most of this movie appears in that movie as well. And also in a documentary called Sleigh Bells Ring, The Story of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is on the Blu-ray, but I did not have time to watch it before we recorded this episode.
I'm sure you probably already know all the information anyway, since you're obsessed with this movie.
Director Charles E. Sellier Jr. has a lot of other credits, but no other Christmas horror movies. Filmed in Heber City, Utah. I know when you and I were watching it, we were trying to figure out kind of where the movie was taking place. I don't think they ever actually say, other than at one point we see like Utah Mental Facility, but
and
like
the license plates. That's about it.
Yeah, Heber City, Utah, and I don't know if that's actually where the movie's supposed to take place, or you know, or if it's just kind of a nameless town. I don't know that they ever give any.
Hard to say. Oh, so before we get any deeper into this, Black Christmas or this?
Oh, see that Actually, let's save that for the end of the movie.
He's afraid of the question, folks.
Robert Brian Wilson as Billy Chapman hasn't had a ton of work. He basically has this and then a handful of other appearances. But one notable thing is he's in a made-for-TV movie called A Husband for Christmas, where he stars alongside Eric Freeman,
Oh boy.
who plays Ricky in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Oh no.
So clearly someone involved in that movie was a fan of this franchise. Also, like, Eric Roberts is in that movie, and you know, and I think Vivica A. Fox, like that. It's kind of a big movie. Lillian Chauvin as Mother Superior has been in all sorts of stuff, ranging from like the George Reeves Superman, Predator 2, Catch Me If You Can.
Wow.
Storied career. Same with Britt Leach, who plays Mr. Sims. MASH, The Love Boat, Tales from the Crypt, Father of the Bride with Steve Martin.
Nice, respectable.
Nancy Borgwicht, who is Mrs. Randall. I believe she's the other person in the toy store. We might see her again if we ever do Halloween 4, because she appears in that.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
And then also Eric Hurt, who plays a shopkeeper. I think it's the shopkeeper at the gas station, is also in Halloween 4. And
I think you're forgetting Will Hare as the gaslighting grandpa.
true, I didn't have him written down, but yeah, he did a lot of stuff. A lot of these people were in a lot of stuff.
It's honestly a pretty stacked cast for a movie of this caliber.
Leo Genter, who is Tommy, is in my favorite Halloween movie, or my third favorite Halloween movie, behind Halloween 3 and the original Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. It's the one with Paul Rudd in it. And then probably most pertinent to our interests, Linnea Quigley, who is from Davenport, Iowa. So shout out to the state we live in.
A homegrown favorite.
Who plays Denise. We will see her again in Caesar and Otto's Deadly Christmas, and probably something else at some point in time, because she is kind of like the B-movie scream queen. She is in so much stuff.
I wish we could have seen more of her in this one.
She's great. I mean, like appearances in Star Trek and stuff too, right? Like she's done all sorts of stuff. Place. Budget of $750,000, a box office of $2.5 million, and that was only made in 10 days because of the big controversy surrounding this movie, where a bunch of parents got up in arms about a killer Santa.
And other things.
I think also it probably had to do with the portrayal of the Catholic Church, because we know it's a beacon of
of upstanding generosity and kindness to all children.
Yeah. The Catholic Church has never done anything wrong. But yeah, they had some. I think at one point in time they thought, oh, we'll be in the clear because there've already been, multiple Killer Santa movies. There was Christmas Evil. There was
Black Christmas.
But there's not a Killer Santa.
I guess it's not a Killer Santa.
Yeah, but there was Tales from the Crypt, and there was To All a Good Night. Brooklyn Santa.
I was saying there's Black Christmas and Halloween before this, and I mean literally Nightmare on Elm Street at the same time.
Where Freddy is, for all intents and purposes, a child molester.
As I say, very sexually explicit themes in that one, and none of the gore or anything in this movie is any worse than anything in Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep. But for whatever reason, just people got up in arms and pretty much got the movie taken away at the time. And now, there's some asterisks next to it. Yeah. But at the time, it was making more money than A Nightmare on Elm Street was. But I think part of that is down to that Silent Night, Deadly Night was in more theaters than A Nightmare on Elm Street was. But if you believe in string theory, if you believe in multiverses, there's a parallel universe out there where Silent Night, Deadly Night became the smash hit movie franchise, and Nightmare on Elm Street is just kind of a B movie that everyone talks about every once in a while.
I'm glad we don't live in that universe, because as we all know, New Line Cinema is the house that Freddy built, and New Line Cinema bankrolled the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So if they hadn't been successful with this, chances are they would have faded into obscurity, and I would have no Lord of the Rings trilogy.
It would be interesting to stop in that universe, but yeah, probably wouldn't want to live there.
But no, honestly, for what I was researching, it seems like it was more the religious angle that caused the mass boycotts, and especially once celebrity voices got involved, like big religious celebrities. I think at that point it was pretty much a done deal.
Well, and wasn't it? Hold on, give me 1 second here. I think Mickey Rooney came out against the movie, and then and
Siskel and Ebert came out against it. It was just basically once I think once Mickey Rooney made it publicly known that he was against it or whatever on religious grounds, then people started coming out of the woodwork and dogpiling on it. And at that point, it filters down to the average person who sees it on the news or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, well, you can't see that film. It must be terrible."
Well, it's made even more funny by the fact that Mickey Rooney boycotts this movie and talks about how bad this movie is. And in 4 movies later, will appear in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know.
Because, the paycheck was more important.
Are you saying that somebody's religious convictions weren't as important as getting paid?
Right, hard to believe.
That's never happened before. But yes, it was a combination of them. Because, every time something like this comes out, there's always parent groups that are like, oh, this is bad for the children. But once the celebrities got involved, I think that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Originally titled Sleigh Ride, Slayryde, which interesting name.
It's not a bad title.
I like the name we got, but it's not a bad name. The tagline, you've made it through Halloween, now try to survive Christmas, and he knows when you've been naughty. Both solid taglines.
Good. Yeah. It's kind of rare in these circumstances. Usually when there's an alternate title, it's completely terrible, and you're like, oh, good, I'm glad they changed it. But yeah, this one, it's we could have went with either one.
One of my favorite alternate titles is for, what's the name of that fucking movie? Unfriended, the fucking...
Oh, yeah.
The fucking...
The Facebook movie.
Facebook movie.
Horror movie, yeah.
Where the girl poops her pants.
Yep.
Apparently it had the alternate title of Cybernatural, which something about that name just cracks me up.
Sounds like an episode of Supernatural.
Right. Spawned 4 sequels, so Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, 3, 4, and 5.
And of course, the spin-off fan films.
Yep, a handful of fan films. A loose remake, which is just called Silent Night, starring Malcolm McDowell and... I forget the name of the person. And then a comic book has come out. They have a board game. The band Ice Nine Kills has released a song called Merry Xmas, which is based off of this. Action figures over the years, and then a ton of t-shirt companies, Cavity Colors, Gutter Garbs, Fright Rags, have all, every year at Christmas time, it's one of my favorite things when they release their new shirts. One of my favorite shirts I own is a Cavity Colors Silent Night Deadly Night shirt, and it's even got the Linnea Quigley kill on it. It's such a great shirt.
The rack on the rack.
And Fright Rags, has also, I think, involved. They've done a lot of merchandise with this. At one point, they released a cool box set with a ton of stuff in it, and a Linnea Quigley antlers Christmas ornament.
That's cool.
And the Fright Rags, I believe, was also kind of involved with the release of the board game.
Yeah. I wanted to do a quick note here before we get completely away from the controversy. Gene Siskel, since this movie, even though it was only released for 2 weeks because TriStar caved and pulled it, Gene Siskel said that the profits from this movie were blood money. As if these kids and these people in this movie actually got killed or something. These were real people who got killed in this movie. It's a documentary.
Oh, Jamie King is the actress who stars alongside Malcolm McDowell in the remake. That is important because there's when we inevitably get to it, there's a funny kind of coincidence about that movie and another one that I'll have to share that someone told me one time. And then rumors of another remake coming out at some point in time, but I can't find more than that. Someone had bought the rights and they were planning on making a remake with it coming out maybe in 2021, 2022. But nothing beyond that.
It's the usual Hollywood in development.
The poster. The poster with the Santa coming out of the chimney.
Yeah, it's a great poster.
Such a great poster. I think up there with the Jack Frost lenticular cover we talked about.
Yeah.
That's another one that walking down the Blockbuster horror movie aisle and seeing that Silent Night Deadly Night poster. One of my favorite memories of childhood. Even though didn't see it till years later.
When we get our studio set up, we should get that poster.
I agree. I think that one's awesome. Not currently streaming for free anywhere.
But I mean, honestly, this is one that's probably worth buying.
Yeah.
Just to have in your collection.
I have the Blu-ray collector's edition from Scream Team releasing. Not Scream Team releasing. Scream Factory. And yeah, worth getting. But yeah, find it somewhere. It's a blast of a movie. It's worth seeing. Do you have anything else?
Well, just another quick note on the controversy. I was reading into, because basically at the time that this came out, the slasher genre was kind of dying. Well, people were saying it was dying anyway. And it was, ironically, the movie that dethroned it and possibly derailed it from being, the big hit, A Nightmare on Elm Street, is what kind of put life back into the slasher genre and enabled this to get all of its sequels. It's an interview with Wes Craven. He actually mentions this movie, and he's like, if I had known that it was going to spawn 4 Silent Night, Deadly Night sequels, I may not have put it out. Which, I mean, just shout out quickly to a legend, Wes Craven, for, arguably reviving slashers twice, once with Nightmare on Elm Street and again with Scream.
Speaking of the sequels, one time I was telling Jeff and my mutual friend Keo about these movies, and I'm like, what's wild about these movies is, you get like Nightmare on Elm Street, where kind of there's peaks and troughs. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street's great. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is, whatever.
It's a movie.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is, a lot of people put it right up there next to the original.
A lot of people say that 3 is their favorite.
Yeah, and they, and then various peaks and troughs, through the rest. Same with kind of Halloween. There's people who really like Halloween 3. There's people who really like H2O. Certainly the new movies, the new universe, so all sorts of stuff. And I said to our friend Keo, I was like, this movie franchise has no peaks and troughs, maybe with the exception of 4. But it's pretty much like someone steps off a plateau, falls, lands, dusts themselves off, is like, all right, I'm fine, takes another step, falls off another plateau onto the third movie, stands up, dusts themselves off, and they just keep going downhill.
Yes. This is a fall down, let's say, the Himalayan mountains. You drop from one peak to another. Which, don't get me wrong. I've seen, spoiler alert here for everybody, I've actually, before I saw this one, when Jay showed it to me, I'd seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 already. And when I watched that, I didn't realize that it was going to be a recap of the first movie, basically.
About 50% recap.
But I could say that there is a noticeable decline in quality, let's say, between the first two. So I'm imagining there's probably an equal drop-off between the rest of them.
Someone once told me, they were like, if you have someone ask you, like, what Silent Night, Deadly Night movie to start with, like, what do you tell them? And I was like, well, you tell them the original, or maybe 2. Like, depending on their level of being able to handle something silly. And they're like, what if you told them 3, which is like still kind of follows the timeline of the first 2 movies, but is just completely bonkers and out there. And they're like, tell them to start with 3 and see what happens.
Oof. Well, I guess when we get to it, I'll find out.
Yeah, we'll inevitably get there. Do you want to get into our synopsis?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we start off with the song Santa's Watching playing. It plays throughout the movie. We hear it a couple times.
Why do all these movies have these songs?
As a wreath kind of slowly approaches the screen with the word Silent Night above it. Then when it gets close enough, there's a loud discordant music and blood splatters, and the words Deadly Night appear below it.
And then I had to pause while I hyperventilated real quick.
We get a caption on the screen, Christmas 1971. A young Billy Chapman, his baby brother Ricky, and his mom and dad are driving to visit his grandpa at the Utah Mental Health Facility.
But Jay, Grandpa can't even talk anymore. Why are we going to see him?
And Billy asks his mom, essentially that, and then asks, if he'll see Santa, and if Santa will know where to find him, and his mom ominously tells him, or foreshadowingly tells him, Santa's going to bring him a big surprise tonight.
I know. Anybody else get a little unsettled at that line?
That was one that, the first couple times I saw it, I never caught that line, and then on one of the watch throughs that I had recently, I was like, oh, that's very foreshadowing. I like that. At the Utah mental health facility, Billy's grandpa is in a catatonic state, just kind of staring off into space.
Or is he?
The doctor goes with Billy's parents to kind of go over something to do with Billy's grandpa, and then when they leave the room, Billy's grandpa kind of turns to look at him, and a big smile crosses his face, and he grabs Billy's arm and basically tells him to be scared because Christmas Eve is the scariest night of the year.
If you see Santa Claus tonight, you better run, boy. You
Yep.
better run for your life. Now back to my catatonic state.
Yep, Santa punishes the naughty kids. And then as soon as the door opens, he just goes back to just sitting there staring dead ahead. And at one point, like, Billy tells his parents about it, and they're like, that's impossible, Billy. Like, Grandpa just sits there.
Grandpa, you crazy old bastard.
Meanwhile, on the Chapman's drive back home, at a gas station is being robbed by a guy in a Santa suit. He shoots the gas station owner 3 times and makes out with $31.
Hey now. That's $31 in 1984 money. That's probably like $1,000 today.
That's $31 in technically 1971 money.
Oh, true. Oh, God, it's worth even more then.
The Chapmans find the Santa stranded beside the road. They try to help him out, and he shoots the gun when he pulls the gun on them, he shoots the dad as they try to run away. Billy is able to make it out. The mom tries to get away, but the Santa's able to grab her. He rips her shirt open and then slits her throat and kind of screams off into the darkness as Billy hides behind like a bunch of brush, like, yeah, where are you,
boy?
Yeah, where are you, little bastard? As Ricky is crying in the car. And then we cut to December 1974 at St. Mary's Home for Orphaned Children.
Quick note before we move on, that would be worth $232.20 today.
Oh man, what a steal.
So still definitely not worth killing somebody over.
Billy is in class as all the kids in class are sharing their Christmas drawings. And when Billy goes to hang his up, it's like a picture of Santa being stabbed and his reindeer being decapitated.
And obviously Mother Superior is aghast at this.
Yep. Mother Superior basically sends Billy away as punishment, and Sister Margaret tries to sympathize with Billy because of what happened to him, all those years ago. And kind of tries to get him to go out and play and tells him that, it's okay and that he's always better after Christmas. He just always has a hard time at Christmas.
Now, pause real quick here. I understand that you can't hide from things that have happened to you forever, but maybe don't force a kid, like an 8-year-old kid, to confront their Christmas trauma every single year. Maybe excuse him from these Christmas drawing activities and stuff like that.
You would think. Truly, the villain of this movie is not Billy.
It's like, oh my God. It's like, oh, he always gets better after Christmas. Gee, you think? He watched his parents get murdered by a guy in a Santa suit.
Yep. I would be traumatized too. On Billy's way outside to go play, he stumbles across some hot young teens fucking.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's spying on them through a peephole, he kind of has some visions of his mom being stabbed before Mother Superior kind of appears, opens the door, pulls out a belt and starts beating the kids as you kind of hear them screaming in pain as Billy kind of runs outside to play, and Mother Superior shortly follows him out afterwards and asks Billy what he saw, and nothing, Mother Superior. Do you know what they were doing? No, Mother Superior. And
she's like, good.
Yeah, they were being naughty, Billy, and punishment is right/good. And he's been naughty by going outside, and so he needs to be punished. And she takes him up to his room and beats him with her belt.
Yeah. Oh, the way you get a kid to improve their trauma and their situation, beat it out of them.
Later that night, Billy has dreams of his parents being killed all over again. He gets up to kind of I think just to kind of get out and catch his breath. And Mother Superior appears behind him, ties him to the bed as punishment as Billy screams for help.
Yep. Out of all the things, I can see why this would cause an uproar or whatever, in the Catholic community. But it's I'm sure that this kind of thing was done.
Spare the rod, spoil the child, or whatever.
Corporal punishment is used. I think even to this day. Wrapping your knuckles with the ruler, stuff like that.
Oh no, I have friends who went to Catholic school back when we were all younger. Yeah. And they tell me that they got hit with a ruler all the time.
Oh yeah, I had a friend who went to Catholic school. He said they still, I think up through middle school, like up through 8th grade, he said they would still use paddling as a punishment.
That's ridiculous. The next morning, Mother Superior tries to make Billy sit on Santa's lap, and in probably one of the best scenes of the whole movie, Billy just turns around and clocks him.
And I mean, also, what kind of glass jaw do you have to get decked by an 8-year-old?
And he's like, he's not, his nose is bleeding. He's fucking knocked out.
He got his ass kicked in one punch.
Billy runs up the stairs to his room and kind of hides, muttering to himself that he tries to be good. He doesn't mean to be naughty. Mm-hmm. And then the door opens and we hear Mother Superior's voice say, "William." And then that scene slowly fades out and we fade into spring 1984, so 10 years later.
But yes, no, Mother Superior's like little mantra, her thing is punishment is absolute, punishment is necessary, punishment is good. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna make a healthy, well-adjusted child.
Yep, this child's gonna have no problems. Sister Margaret is at Ira's toy store and she manages to get Billy a job, kind of working hard in the back.
Also, another pause. Sister Margaret, what the fuck are you doing? You're getting Billy a job, a place that is easily going to trigger him every year. It's like, oh yeah, toy stores. One of the few businesses that does a massive event for Christmas every year. Let's give Billy a job there, even though he's supposed to be what at this point, 14 or something.
I think he's supposed to be like 18 or something. Like that
he looks like he's like 30 and very muscular. It's like he could probably get a job like literally anywhere. But no, let's have him work at the toy store.
Speaking of the toy store, can we talk about Ira's toy store for a minute?
I mean, great toy store.
Some awesome stuff I saw. An early Mousetrap board game. Some like Jabba's Palace, like Star Wars set.
All kinds of great stuff.
There's a Krull board game I saw at one point in time. They walk past a couple old like costumes. There's a Superman costume, a Batman costume, I think a Mickey Mouse costume. And like a Fozzie Bear and like a Kermit toy, like and at one point I think we even see like a He-Man kite, like He-Man's riding a Battle Cat.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
That might be one of my favorite scenes in any movie. I just loved like pausing every couple of seconds and like just looking at all the cool toys in this toy store.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
As Billy's working hard, we get a montage of this song, I think, with a song playing on the other side called "Warm Side of the Door," of like Billy going around and stocking shelves and making friends with the people who work there, except Andy, because that guy's a dick who just sits on his ass all day.
I don't want to spend Christmas by myself.
At one point, like, we see Andy offering Billy a drink, and Billy's like, "No thanks, I got my carton of milk." And there's a girl, Pamela, that like Billy clearly has a crush on, and they kind of make eyes at each other. And then at one point, like it's as the years going by, Mr. Sims, opens up a banner he's had made, and you watch Billy's face fall as it says "Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year," and Santa's face is on it.
Gee, who could have possibly foreseen this? That a toy store would have Christmas references at Christmas time.
And so as Billy kind of. Has Billy had his dream yet? Yeah, I think so. Billy has like a dream of him and Pamela
getting ready to have sex.
Yep, and then Santa's the Santa sleeve comes out of nowhere with a knife, and stabs Billy. It causes Billy to wake up, and then kind of back to what happened all those years ago. He's sitting in his room muttering to himself like, "I try to be good. I don't mean to be naughty." And so the next day, Mr. Sims is informed that the store Santa is going to be gone because he broke his leg skiing.
He's out for the season.
And so Billy needs to fill in his Santa Claus.
What could possibly go wrong?
And we get like this scene where like Billy's like basically this girl's sitting on Santa's lap and Billy's like, "Stop being naughty. Santa punishes kids who are naughty." And the little girl like just stops fidgeting, and then one of the moms is like, "Oh, he's so good with kids."
Well, he uses my method with kids. Scare them.
So then we get a great scene. It's the end of the day. It's like 7:00, and I think Mr. Sims says like 7:00. Christmas season is over.
Time to get shit-faced.
And everyone's partying and drinking and stuff. Mr. Sims gives Billy something to drink. Yeah. And then at one point, like Pamela's trying to talk to Billy, And Andy goes up and talks to her, and he's like, "Hey, come, follow me to the back." And he's got some mistletoe, and he makes Pamela come over and kiss him.
And this starts the arc where we were like, what is going on? This makes no sense. Did they cut a scene or something that we didn't see with these two?
Yeah, no, clearly Pamela is not interested in Andy.
She's not interested in him when he comes up to her and interrupts her talking to Billy. And then she is interested in him when he's motioning for her to come back or whatever, and they start making out before they go into the back room. And then when they get to the back room again, she's not interested anymore, like she was before.
And there was another woman working at the toy store. There's a blonde woman who works at the toy store who's about their age, who that could fill in for Pamela, and then you wouldn't have this weird confusion.
Yeah, it's like weird. It's so weird. It's like, obviously throughout the whole rest of the movie, every scene we've seen her in, she's not interested in him at all. And then all of a sudden she goes back there and makes out with him, and it seems like she's into it.
And so Billy goes into the back, and at first, and I think there's a scene where Andy's like, Pamela says, "Oh, can't you give me the present you want to give me, out with everyone else?" And he's like, "No, I got to give it to you in the back, baby."
And also, how thick do you have to be to not understand what he's talking about?
Yep. And so then Billy kind of follows him into the back, and he watches as Andy gets way too aggressive and rips off Pamela's shirt and as she's trying to push him away and tell him no.
The way he rips off her shirt, coincidentally, is the exact same way Billy's mom's shirt was ripped off when she was attacked.
And so Andy starts trying to rape her, and that causes Billy to fly into a rage. He runs over, I think screams naughty or something, and grabs a set of Christmas lights and strangles Andy with him and literally like holds him up in the air.
He Darth Vaders him.
Pamela then kind of, is freaked out by this, and Billy kind of turns towards her and tells her that punishment is good before he cuts her open, guts her with a box cutter.
Which initially he doesn't do anything to her, but then she's like, I mean, I understand obviously somebody just got killed in front of you, so you're probably not going to be like, happy, but she's like, "You freak, you weirdo, you're crazy."
And so this causes this causes Billy to kill her. And then I think like we hear her scream, and Mr. Sims is like, "Oh, what's going on back there?"
Yeah.
And Mr. Sims is clearly drunk, probably
drunk as hell.
Probably my favorite drunk actor in maybe any movie ever. As he goes to the back and he's like, "Oh, what's going on back here?" And he kind of doesn't see anything, and he's kind of looking around, and then at one point he turns around and he's like, "Oh, well, Merry Christmas."
Yeah.
And then he turns around and gets the claw of a hammer right into his forehead.
I was going to say, right before he gets hammered, he sees the body, I think, laying there, sprawled out, of Andy. And then he goes to turn around, and that's when he gets clocked with the hammer.
And then I think maybe this is when did we say Mrs. Robertson? Is that her name?
No. What's her name? What's his name?
He's Mr. Sims. Mrs. Randall.
Randall, yeah.
Mrs. Randall, kind of realizes that everyone's missing, so she goes into the back, finds Mr. Sims's body. And as she's like running up to the front, all the power cuts off in the store. She tries to open the front door, but they'd already locked it.
Can't get it open.
She runs up to the phone to dial 911, and Billy's taken the axe off the wall, and he brings it down on the phone line. And then he stalks Mrs. Robertson through the store.
And then, using a surprising amount of sense for a horror movie, she tricks him with her hat. Right? Mm-hmm. He thinks it's her, and then she hides and waits for him to attack the hat, and then she slips out past him. And she would have got away because she's about to break the window and escape, but then he shoots her with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, which, wild that there's just a working bow and arrow. Wild that there's a working bow and arrow in the toy store, and wild that Billy is capable enough to use it to kill somebody.
I mean, instantly, like he's done it 1,000 times. He just draws it straight back to his cheek, nails her right in the heart.
And so Billy picks up his axe, unlocks the door, and walks out, and minutes later Sister Margaret walks in and sees the massacre in the toy store, and we get this great scene where she lets out a scream, and it cuts to the nutcracker, one of the nutcrackers in the store with its mouth open.
Gee, Sister Margaret, how could you have ever seen this coming?
We then get our scene with Linnea Quigley and her character Denise and Denise's boyfriend.
Yep. Oh my God.
Linnea Quigley and her boyfriend they're getting ready to fuck.
Oh yeah, they're getting ready. Well, I mean, they're trying to, but of course the damn cat's got to get in the way.
Yeah, at one point Denise's little sister tries to come downstairs, And then at another point, she hears the cat, but at one point they're about getting ready to get it on, and her boyfriend says 2 ball in the corner pocket, and I don't know if he's doing sex right.
Yeah, it's debatable.
Yeah, I don't think the balls go anywhere.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Billy appears in the door when she goes. She's like, "Oh, the cat's meowing. I gotta go let the cat in." She opens the door and calls for the cat, and Billy appears yelling, "Punish!"
Also, gotta take a point off for this movie for making no pussy joke at that moment.
True, good point. And this whole time, Linnea Quigley's like walking around upstairs, opening her front door with no shirt on, just bare chested.
Which we're not complaining about.
Billy then hacks down the door with an axe and chases Linnea Quigley around upstairs before the famous kill, probably the best kill in the whole movie.
Up on the antlers.
Yeah, he picks up Linnea Quigley and pushes her through like a rack, like a deer.
A rack of antlers. We got a rack on a rack, ladies and gentlemen.
And then her boyfriend doesn't hear any of this going on.
Somebody's like literally being chased around and murdered upstairs, and then it's like basically a Family Guy level thing where he's like, "What? Something happening up there?"
So he decides to go upstairs. He's walking around, and then probably what makes it even funnier is he's like, "Denise, where are you?" And he walks literally in front of her, legs dangling down from the antlers.
Like, how could you not have seen that walking in the room?
And then he turns around and he's like, "Oh my gosh." Billy attacks him. They kind of fight. At one point, I think he's able to kind of fight Billy off and kicks him in the balls.
Yep, classic maneuver.
And he picks up the phone, tries to dial 911, is unsuccessful, or is able to dial the operator, is unsuccessful. Billy grabs him and defenestrates him straight through a window. Mm-hmm. Second defenestration in a row. And we see a scene where he's got like a bunch of large shards of glass like pierced through his face and through his stomach and stuff.
What is this? The defenestration of Prague that launched the 30 Years' War? Everybody got that reference?
Linnea Quigley then, Linnea Quigley's character's sister comes out and she's like, "Santa?" And Billy asks her, like, "Have you been naughty?" And she shakes her head no. And he's like, "Are you sure you haven't been naughty?" And she's like, "Yes, I've been good all year." And Billy reaches into her pocket and gives her the box cutter that he killed Pamela with.
Ah, yes, my murdering tool. Here you go, little girl.
And then walks out through the door that he chopped open with his axe, carrying his axe in the other hand. And the girl just kind of stands there like, what the hell just happened?
So, he still does have some twisted sense of justice.
We then cut to some police officers driving around. Chief gave us orders to bring in Santa Claus. What next? The Easter Bunny? Peter Pan?
Oh, yeah, famous holiday characters like Peter Pan.
They see... I titled this Seeing Police Incompetence 1. We see... they see a guy with in a Santa suit climbing up a ladder into someone's window. Yeah. So they just walk in the front door with their guns drawn.
Bust in there, get ready to shoot this guy. Of course, it's just some dad surprising the kid for Christmas.
Waking up the kid. The kid goes, "Daddy," and he's like, "Huh?" And he just gives him a look like, "Oh, you cops. Yeah. Always ruining Christmas."
And then they're like, "Ah, shucks. Well, we almost murdered you, but it's okay. We'll see ourselves out now. You guys got anything to drink?"
So then Billy's kind of walking along the side of the road. He sees a police car with its sirens blaring and kind of ducks into the woods.
Yeah.
And while this is going on, there's two real Jay and Jeff nerdy type guys.
Yeah, two guys getting ready to sled out there.
They're getting ready to sled on Christmas Eve. Oh man, this hill is virgin, Jeff.
Like you.
They're getting ready to sled, have fun on Christmas Eve, because that's what guys do on Christmas Eve. Is they love to go out to the woods and sled.
Yeah, I was gonna say, two guys out there to sled in the woods.
Well, I think they were legitimately going to sled. The other two guys maybe not. Two bullies appear named like Mac and Bob or something like that.
Your classic bullies. What are you nerds doing out here?
What are you nerds? You nerds are gonna go sledding. We're gonna go sledding. And they chase off the two nerdy guys,
saving their lives.
Yep. And then one of them's like, "Oh, I'll go first." And so he goes down the hill.
Worst sledder of all time, by the
way. He's having the whole time we see his like hands and feet moving as he propels himself down the hill. Yeah. So he makes it to the bottom of the hill, and then his friend hollers down after him, and he's like, oh, he's like, you thought that was good? Watch this. And as he starts down the hill, Billy appears with a naughty and chops the guy's head off.
Ah, decapitation.
We then see the body ride to the bottom of the hill with no head on, and the other guy screams.
And then we see the head roll down the rest of the way.
Yep. The next morning, at the police station, Sister Margaret is has been sleeping and tells Chief O'Brien that, you know, they ought to be a way that they can predict his next move, where Billy's going to strike next. And Sister Margaret says, "Oh my God," as we cut to the orphanage.
Yeah, so it's like, gee, you think? It's like, how did she not suggest that immediately?
We cut to the scene that I call Police Incompetence 2, where a police officer is pulling up outside the orphanage and he sees a Santa Claus walking towards a bunch of kids.
By the way, a multiple murderer, and they send like one middle-aged beat cop to watch the place.
Oh man. And he pulls up, he like, we even get like an action shot of like the police car like braking and skidding and stuff like
to
that.
Stop, and he jumps out. Freeze!
The Santa doesn't stop moving. He keeps walking forward. And so he puts 3 bullets into him. Oh, don't worry, he killed Santa, except that it wasn't
Turns
Billy.
out it was just a deaf old priest.
Yeah, it was Father O'Brien, and he didn't respond. Well, he didn't respond to my calls. Well, of course he can't. He's deaf.
Oof. Well, there's going to be a lot of paperwork on this one, boys. I'm probably going to get suspended with pay.
Officer Barnes gets chewed out by Mother Superior. Mother Superior says something like, "He was Santa. Why'd you shoot him?" And he's like, "Well, that's the person we're looking for is dressed as Santa." I think at that moment, Mother Superior kind of realizes what's going on.
And then she's like, oh shit, the kid I abused of his entire childhood might be coming back here with a weapon.
Officer Barnes patrols the grounds. We get kind of a scene where he's slowly walking through. He hears like a door open, and so he follows it downstairs, kind of goes through like a basement area. And as he walks back up the stairs, not finding anything, Billy appears with a punish and hits Officer Barnes in the chest.
And still, even though there were a bunch of cops here for the other shooting that happened, not one stays behind.
Yep. So Billy's just able to kill this cop. No one's able to
look,
stop
my
him.
only obstacle, an old man.
And then we get another, I think, iconic scene. Billy's walking up towards the orphanage. There's a snowman in front of him, and there's blood dripping off his axe, and he swings it and hits the snowman and knocks the head off the snowman.
Yeah, it's a cool shot.
Billy's led into the orphanage because he's dressed as Santa.
Yes, of course, a kid opens the door for him.
And Mother Superior starts like yelling, telling him no, telling them to get away. And Billy keeps saying naughty as he goes to attack Mother Superior. And then in slow motion, Billy raises his axe and we hear some gunshots ring out as Billy falls to the ground, unable to bring his axe down on Mother Superior. And he falls to the ground. Sister Margaret runs up to pick him up. Billy, are you okay? Billy, and he says to Sister Margaret, and he says to the kids, "You're safe now. Santa Claus is gone."
Yeah.
As his axe, lays on the ground at his brother Ricky's feet, the camera slowly pans up to Ricky's face, and he says "naughty" as the scene fades to black.
I'm sure that's not going to come back in any way.
And then that Santa's watching song plays again as the credits roll.
I'm just glad it wasn't the warm side of the door again.
On the warm side of the door.
We're gonna meet after the podcast. On the warm side of the door.
You want to meet on the warm side of the door, but the cool side of the pillow.
Exactly.
So,
thus ends the tale. Honestly, just taken outside of the context of the movie, the tragic tale of Billy.
Yep. No,
Kid never had a chance.
I think you and I were joking, like Billy is truly the Tim Robinson, I think you should leave meme of like, yes. I didn't do this. I didn't do any of this.
Yes. But yes, it's like honestly, it's like he had no choice in any of this, pretty much. His life was determined from the moment he witnessed those murders as a kid. Well, and his spooky-ass grandpa. Yeah. Whatever that was about. But yeah, it's a tragic tale, really. And I'm sure similar things have probably happened to real people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not dressed in a Santa suit, but...
anything else you want to hit before we hit the minutia?
Nope. I think we did a pretty good, solid summary.
We'll see this whole movie again when we do Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Well, just the good highlights.
just the highlight. About half this movie again.
It's a real Back to the Future 2 situation.
Oh, man. Let's, where do you want to kick off?
Well, we might as well just do our traditional talking about the Christmas sweater.
All right, Christmas sweater, favorite outfit set design choices, stuff like that.
I mean, obviously, I think you made the comment multiple times, but they had like one Santa suit probably for this movie.
There are so it spans from 1971 to 1984. That is the timeline of the movie, and there is every single person is wearing the exact same
Yes.
Santa suit with the bells on the sleeves.
Yeah. Which, I mean, nice Santa suit, but it's like, really, they couldn't have sprung for a couple extra Santa costumes.
Now it's the Santa who kills Billy's parents is wearing the exact same suit that the Santa that Billy punches out at the orphanage is wearing the exact same suit that Billy puts on is wearing the exact same suit that the dad who's going to surprise his daughter dressed as Santa is wearing. They're all wearing and it's existed for 13 years.
And the exact same suit that the deaf old priest is wearing.
Yep. Just a wild choice.
This Santa suit gets around. It's a real cloying suit, if you know what I'm saying.
They've just been it's a timeless look, and and just in this small town in Utah, this one company is making the same Santa suit, no changes, no alterations, not adjusting for time or anything
Nobody,
like
and
that.
no one bought one anywhere else. Apparently, they only bought from this one specific company.
We already touched on it, but Ira's Toys is such a
Yes.
cool set design.
First of all, great location. Second of all, just the choices they made for like the toys that they held on, and whoever, I don't know if they used a real toy store or maybe they built it themselves. But I mean, excellent shelf design. It made me want some of those toys.
No, I would have loved to go back in time and just hang out at that toy store. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then something my wife actually commented on the first time she watched this movie is we see three different women in various states of tops being removed, whether it's being forcibly removed or taking them off themselves. And all three of these women, none of them are wearing bras.
Yes.
And my wife commented like, "Man, what was going on in the 80s that just women were just not going around not wearing bras at all?"
I don't know. It was a better time, though.
But yeah, just really silly that it happened three separate times and none of them are wearing bras.
I mean, you're not going to catch me complaining about women not wearing
Right,
bras.
but anything else?
Well, I mean, kind of the way that they have got Grandpa dressed. I don't know why he made me unsettled, but it was kind of unsettling. He was dressed kind of like a disheveled hobo almost in this mental facility that looked kind of like a warehouse.
No, he looks. I mean, Grandpa is a terrifying individual.
It's just his. I don't know if it's the cost. It's probably a combination of everything, but his costume and his presence and the way that he just kind of stares blankly off until he has that snap moment where he grabs Billy's arm. That's just. I thought that whole scene worked really well, and I think the costume and the set probably played into that. And I mean, the orphanage looked,
and the smile on his face, the smile he gets looks so creepy.
That's so creepy, yeah. But yeah, the orphanage. I mean, set up. The classroom looked, I mean, believable. Like the weird upstairs dormitory. I don't know where they filmed that. Maybe in like a real like dormitory. I don't know. But I mean, it all seemed like it was serviceable enough. Although honestly, for a religious institution at Christmas time, really not a whole lot of Christmas decoration at the orphanage.
Right, I agree. And one going back to Grandpa real fast. It's a cool scene where like his eyes move, like his face doesn't move, but his eyes move over to Billy, and then the smile crosses his face. Like it's really well done.
It's such a creepy scene.
Yeah. Anything else for Christmas sweater?
No, that's all I got.
Do you want to jump into favorite quotes? Christmas Carol.
Might as well.
I got a few of them. We'll start off. We were just talking about Grandpa. Grandpa, Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year.
Yep.
You see Santa Claus tonight, you better run, boy.
You better run for your life. But yeah, I mean, Mother Superior's punishment litany that she goes over and over again. I mentioned that one earlier, but punishment is absolute. Punishment is necessary. Punishment is good.
I think when after Billy catches the hot young teens fucking and goes outside, and at one point, like, Ricky's like, Billy, what's wrong? And then another kid goes, your brother's a nutcase. That's what's wrong.
Yeah, I had that one too. Of course, I had let's get shit faced.
7 o'clock. It's over. Time to get shit faced. Yep, I have that one as well. After Billy punches out the Santa in the orphanage, the Santa like sits up with a bloody nose and he's like, what the hell is wrong with that kid?
Oh, I had just, I mean, not a huge, it was a funny line in context where she's like, Billy, are you okay? After he gets shot 3 times in the back, it's like, oh yeah, I'm sure he's fine.
Oh yeah, he'll be fine. And then the 2 sledders, one of them, look at this hill, virgin man, the only kind you'll ever get.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, the cop, we talked about it earlier, but the cop explaining why he shot the old priest in the Santa suit. He wouldn't listen to my commands. Well, of course, he couldn't respond. He's deaf.
Yep. Then I mean, there's of course two iconic lines, punish and naughty,
Yep.
said over and over and over again throughout the movie. Let's get into let's do our broken bulb, brilliant bulb. One thing we would fix and one thing we want to shout out.
Okay.
My broken bulb is I want to know more about Grandpa. I want to know more about why he said what he said, why he did what he did. Like, because I feel like yeah, Billy's whole life was kind of shaped by what happened after that, but he was already scared before that happened.
And how did Grandpa predict what was going to happen? Because it seems like he knew, or at least suspected somehow.
I would like to know more about like what was going on with Billy's grandpa.
I agree. Mine was maybe have them do at least a few scenes where they're trying to help Billy with this when he's a kid. Because it's like, I mean, I know that sometimes people just don't care about mental health or whatever, but it's like you think someone would at least try to give this kid some counseling or something like that, maybe talk about what happened. And also address why Billy still is so triggered at Christmas time. I mean, I understand that it's a painful memory, but it's like by the time he's 18, he's got to know that this guy was not actually Santa. He's just a murderer who happened to be in a Santa costume.
Right.
So it's like you think he would not be quite as triggered at Christmas time as an adult. But no, they never really addressed that. So I would have put something in to address that too.
It's certainly for that at least it's got to be just because everything had to be repressed for him.
Yeah,
like,
it's saying, but yeah, it's just.
But yeah, a couple scenes here.
Maybe like a couple scenes. Like I'm Mother Superior, obviously probably wouldn't, but maybe some scenes of Sister Margaret actually trying to help him. That would have been nice to see.
No, I agree. Like Sister Margaret was the only person willing to go to bat for this kid. Brilliant bulb. One thing you want to shout out?
Well, I was gonna put the grandpa for being such a creepy weirdo.
It can be both. It can be my broken bulb and your brilliant bulb because he is creepy. It works.
Yeah, that's mine. That's what I picked originally, so I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, it's just such a sense of dread in the room with Grandpa and how creepily, like we talked about before, the way his eyes move and snap over and that creepy smile he gets before he grabs Billy's arm and starts his crazy speech. And just the way that it comes out of nowhere. Honestly, I think some explanation would have been interesting to know, but just leaving it unexplained, just having him do this with no like context at all, I think makes it even creepier than if we did know the reason why.
No, I agree with that. For mine, I want to shout out the kid who plays Billy in between his parents getting killed and grown Billy.
8-year-old Billy?
Yeah. He probably the best child actor we've had so far.
He is really good.
We've had a handful. We've had I think there were a couple kids in 13 Slaves Till Xmas.
Yeah.
There were the kids in The Children. There might have been one or two more.
We really liked the kid in that what is it? The Hand That Rocks the Dreidel.
Yep.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, in Holidays. Yeah. Like but man, that the kid who played Billy, 8-year-old Billy, fantastic job. I think the best child actor we've had so far.
Yeah, I mean he definitely delivered his lines and stuff well. He didn't fall flat like most kids do.
And I felt bad for him. Like I could kind of relate to some of those scenes, being scared. The I'm not trying to be naughty. I'm trying to be good.
Yeah.
Like I felt that. Like
no, and I think that's one of the things that this movie does so well is that even though Billy is like a brutal monster, and there's really no reason for him to be doing this, you kind of can sympathize with him still, just because of like how he basically had no chance to be anything but this.
Do you want to go into Christmas spirit? How Christmassy is the movie? How Christmassy are the kills?
Sure. Christmas spirit for me was, I would say, like a medium level, I guess. The toy store, obviously very Christmassy. Lots of good decorations and stuff there. Um, Kind of a lackluster, like I was talking about earlier, the orphanage, kind of like lackluster decorations. They had like a tree, I think, and maybe like a few lights scattered around, like in that common area, but really nothing that would scream Christmas time. And basically, like, I don't think there are any decorations at the police station or anything, which I think would have been nice to maybe put like some lights along the counter or maybe like a little tree around or something, because usually places like that are decorated at Christmas time. But I mean, it has an appropriate level of Christmas. I mean, the kills were, I mean, pretty Christmassy because it's Santa doing it, and of course, you said the axe factor always seems Christmassy.
And I think, like I said, I don't know if the axe thing is directly related to this movie, and so ever since, like, I see an axe kill, it makes me feel Christmassy. Or
Well, I think Christmas Evil, and I think was that 1980?
1980, 1981, I think.
He uses an axe too, doesn't he?
Yeah, and certainly in To All a Good Night. But yeah, just, I don't know, something about the axe does kind of feel Christmas.
Some kind of Christmas axe. Oh, and I mean, obviously, the one where he strangles the guy with the Christmas lights. Great Christmas kill.
For me, I don't know what it is about this movie. Like, I can't put my finger on. I can't explain it. But something about watching this movie just makes me feel like a warmth in my soul. Like that it is Christmas time. My mom always used to say that, like, Christmas music is like Christmas cookies for your ears. And you know, it just kind of, you know, something that it puts you in the mood. It kind of, it makes you feel good. And, you know, and I, you know, I've never been a person who's watched A Christmas Story at Christmas time or you know, or watched it really any other Christmas things not at Christmas time or Christmas in July. But something about this movie, like, I put this movie on and it just feels like Christmas. And even the sequel, you know, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which, you know, takes large swaths of this movie, I don't feel it as much in that movie. It is this movie specifically that gives me just that kind of warmth. And to me, just, it really does, like, it makes me feel Christmassy and thusly, like, makes the movie feel Christmassy. And to kind of address what you said, or what you asked at the beginning, like, Black Christmas doesn't necessarily do that for me. Black Christmas is a movie I can watch over and over and over again.
Right.
Love that movie. And yet, like, yeah, every once in a while, like there's a couple scenes that do kind of, you know, fill me with the Christmas spirit. But this movie, from beginning to end, just, you know, it's the snow on the ground. It's the music. It's the decorations, especially in the toy store. Like, just everything about it. And you know, and then the Killer Santa, like, just everything about it just kind of, to me, feels like Christmas. And which, you know, I've never had a Killer Santa, but just, I don't know. I can't put words to why. It's just, for me, like, that is what this movie just fills me with the Christmas spirit.
Well, see, that movie for me is Christmas Vacation, because my parents used to watch that every night after Thanksgiving dinner every year. And so that always gets me in the Christmas spirit. But yeah, I can understand. So obviously it's a higher Christmas spirit rating for you than me because of your connection to it.
But yeah, and for the kills, how Christmassy are the kills?
Pretty Christmassy.
Killer Santa.
Yeah.
You know, for one, axe, the strangling with the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And then but the whole massacre in the toy store. And when the lights get cut in the toy store, and it, you know, if you can't watch the movie or you don't want to watch the movie, you know, maybe at least go check out the trailer. You get a lot of scenes from the toy store in the trailer. And it's when Billy cuts the lights, and it's just some of the animatronics moving in the windows and stuff, just feels so Christmassy and so creepy in that scene.
Well, I was going to say, the toy store basically carries the Christmas, as far as like the Christmas setting for like set decorations and stuff. It's pretty much centered on the toy store. I would say probably for me, like Christmas spirit from like decorations and stuff, probably like a 6 out of 10, but the kills are like a 10 out of 10. They're basically all Christmas themed kills. Well, I mean, I guess the archery one is kind of borderline, but it's still Santa doing it, I guess.
Right.
So.
Well, and, and he got it from a toy store. I don't
Yeah.
know why they're selling
Why is
a
there
working
an
archery
actual
set.
bow? So it's like, why is there an actual bow with a sharp arrow in this toy store?
Next thing you know, he's gonna pick up some lawn darts before those got banned and kill
Oh,
someone
now
with
see,
those.
that would have been funny if he killed her with lawn darts.
So do you want to get into our final rating? Every episode we rank these movies on one of three categories. Are they seasonally scary? Are they ho hilarious? Or are they you'll be sorry? Do you want to go first, Jeff, or should I?
You go first. This is your favorite.
All right. There's part of me that thinks that you could go ho hilarious for this movie, but for me, this one specifically, and the rest of the movies, as we get to them, it'll be different, and and there'll be different ratings. I think we'll hit over the course of this franchise. I think we'll hit all three rating categories. But this one specifically for me is seasonally scary. This one, it's not jump out scary. It's there's no jump scares. There's no overwhelming sense of dread. It's just it is a Christmas horror movie. I think I would almost say it's the quintessential Christmas horror movie. And so, yeah, and it's kind of the same with Halloween. Like, we had that, I think when we talked about Halloween, you and I both said like the Bob kill is probably like the creepiest, maybe scariest, most unsettling thing in the whole movie. And, and we've both seen Halloween multiple times. And so it doesn't, it's not, so, a lot of the other kills maybe don't stick out as much. And this movie, I don't even think it has something as scary as the Bob kill.
Probably not.
But it's just kind of the Billy just kind of monotonously going about his work, just slaughtering person after person. That the kills are great. The and like the gore effects are awesome. And so like there's some silly lines, and the movie, certainly in the sequel the movie will get much sillier. Especially one line in particular stands out. But
what line could that be, Jay?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get to it here in a little bit. But like this movie is just, not watching through your fingers scary or anything like that. It's just kind of a creepy, fun, good movie. And I think that for me, that's enough to like, it's not laugh out loud hilarious most of the time. It's just, it's just watching a killer going about his work. And I think there's something kind of creepy in that, and just how successful he is over and over and over again, even if some of the kills are a little ridiculous.
Okay. So I was torn on this one because there are a lot of funny moments in this where I was like, this does have a lot of ho hilarious vibes in it, and just some of the funny lines and the way that like the toy store owner behaves and stuff like that when he's drunk. But I had to settle on seasonally scary too. Just, well, one, on the strength of Creepy Grandpa, I mean, that is a genuinely unsettling scene. I mean, even in reference to like other unsettling movies. And just the quality of the kills, I think, elevated above the ho hilarious level. Because honestly, we use that, even if the movie's not particularly funny, we kind of use that for like the standard rating, like it's nothing special. Like, you won't regret watching it, but you probably don't need to watch it. And I think, honestly, you probably should watch this one just because it's got a lot of foundational stuff you're going to see in other slashers that'll kind of copy it. And just the quality of the kills and the same thing. Honestly, the way Billy behaves in this movie, once he makes the switch into Killer Santa at the party, kind of reminds me of the way that another 1984 movie villain, the Terminator, behaves. Kind of that slow, methodical, just going about just murdering everybody in his path. And just kind of, I mean, honestly, in a lot of ways, he's basically been raised to do this, which I think adds another level that makes it hard for me to put it in ho hilarious, just because of the tragic element to the story that they kind of highlight, where it's like Billy really never had a chance. And then passing the trauma on to his brother, essentially, at the end. It's just, it's seasonally scary just based on the strength of the movie, I think.
No, I think if we got to see this, one of our local theaters, the Varsity, has been doing kind of showings of like classic horror movies or kind of midnight movies. I think they call them like Midnights at 10 or something like that. And so I saw Lucio Fulci's The Beyond there a couple weeks ago, and I saw Lost Boys there like last week, and and both and if if we saw this in theaters, I think we'd be laughing and having fun because it's kind of a silly movie. A lot of the kills are very funny, or a lot of the lines are very funny. Some of the stuff that happens is very silly and over the top, but. You just if you sit down on the couch and watch this, like I think it might have it might affect you a little differently, and so I think that's kind of it'd be fun to see with a bunch of people, but it, and we've said that before. This would be a fun movie to put on at a party. This would be a fun movie to put on at a party. This would also be a fun movie to just watch, by yourself or with close friends or something like that.
Oh, it's one of those rare movies where you could pretty much. It can be as shallow or have a level of depth to it as you want when you're watching it. And I think it lends itself well to being rewatched because even though I'd seen the majority of like the impactful scenes because I've seen the second one, it didn't feel like it was dragging or anything watching this one with you. And just, I mean, it's a rare movie usually that can be more than the sum of its parts because, I mean, at the end of the day, it was a cheap, made in 10-day slasher movie that they were trying to cash in on. Mm-hmm. But I think ultimately the combination of the performances and the script and just the subject matter, I think, elevates it a little bit above that. Honestly, I think it's a deeper movie than A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that could have been partly why it was resonating with audiences more up until it got pulled. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Nightmare on Elm Street's a classic. It's a fun movie to watch, but I wouldn't necessarily call anything about it like nothing would be thought-provoking, really.
Maybe some stuff in the first one, but yeah, as the franchise kind of goes on, it just certainly Nightmare on Elm Street just gets sillier and sillier as things happen.
It definitely takes it to an absurd degree, I think. Is Freddy's Dead the one where they go where it opens with "Welcome to Primetime, bitch"?
I think that's
kills the guy through the TV.
I think that's 3. Freddy's Dead is the guy falls out of the airplane and then gets hit by Freddy driving a bus.
Is it? Okay. How many are there? 6?
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, and then 3 is Dream Warriors, and then is it? Oh boy.
4 is the Dream Master.
Yep,
right?
and then Dream Child.
Maybe, and then I know, so maybe 6 is Freddy's Dead.
I think, and then the New Nightmare.
Yeah, so there's 7.
Yep.
Then Jesus.
Why do I feel?
Well, there's
maybe
8.
There's 8.
There's
I don't
8
know.
with a remake with Rorschach.
And then Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah. Which underrated movie, I think. I enjoy Freddy vs. Jason.
I saw it in theaters. I liked it a lot. Yeah. I don't know that I've rewatched it since, but I remember liking it when I saw it in theaters.
A weird movie too. I mean, there's always some weird things when you do a versus movie, but making Jason weak to water, he lives in a lake.
Right. Very strange. Going back to Silent Night, Deadly Night, one last thing that I think we both forgot to mention, or we mentioned at the beginning, the discordant music that plays at the opening credits, that keeps coming back, and like at impactful moments in Billy's life, that music plays, and I thought that was kind of a neat hint. Or a neat just kind of little sting in all of those scenes. It's like you see Billy doing something, and like it will just change. You'll just something here, just kind of like a, and it's kind of neat.
I'll say I wonder if that was a little inspired by the way that John Carpenter did the Halloween soundtrack, where it's got that iconic like or whatever whenever Michael appears.
I think 100% that's what it is. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of neat that like that little discordant music kept coming back over and over and over again.
Speaking of soundtrack doing a lot of work, that soundtrack carries a lot of weight in those later Halloween movies.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, that the Halloween the Michael theme is so good. So let's get into our naughty list. We take our villain of our movie and rank them. Oh,
yeah.
All right. Someone was trying to call Jeff. Someone was trying to interrupt stop the podcast. It's terrible.
Stop the pod. Stop it.
So we like to take our villain and rank them based off of how naughty they've been. So where do we want to put Billy? Billy Chapman, since we should probably name our Billy as opposed to the Billy from Black Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Definitely he's more capable than Santa Claus, more capable than Brooklyn Santa. I don't know. I mean, obviously not as powerful as Bill Goldberg Santa,
Right.
who's like the son of the devil.
I mean, probably less powerful than Full Bird Santa.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting closer in the ballpark. I think Four Birds Santa, we're getting like on the level. But I mean, ultimately, Billy gets stopped by being shot 3 times. So, I mean, probably below Four Birds, but above the other low tier Santas.
And do we? I think we have. Do we have Billy from Black Christmas like above kind of some of those other ones? I think I would put. I'd probably put Billy Chapman right about maybe a little above Billy from Black Christmas.
Yeah, I think the two Billies are close, but yeah, I think Silent Night, Deadly Night Billy would be above Black Christmas Billy. Just because Black Christmas Billy is more of an ambush killer versus this Billy is just kind of like a go straight in and butcher him type killer.
I agree. I think that's a good place to put our Billy.
Of course, we all know that they're all defeated easily by the Nutcracker from Nutcracker Massacre, who could barely climb stairs.
Yeah, with his soul gem powers. All right. Well, every episode we like to clean out our email inbox or shove a bunch of garbage in our faces in a segment we like to call
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
Well, after that lovely email we got last week telling us about how much Matt enjoyed listening to our podcast, we're back to having no emails. So
You fucking useless audience,
I
swear.
I stopped at the store. I picked up some Sour Patch Kids red, white, and blue
Oh boy.
for the Christmas season. I picked up a package of S'moreo cookies, and I grabbed a Sprite Lemonade Legacy.
Oh no.
So we'll kind of go through these and talk about them. I don't know. What do you want to start with, Jeff?
I mean, better start with the Sprite.
All
'cause
right.
I don't think the Sprite's going to be good after the Oreos. Oh, you just woke up Noble.
Yeah. No, hey, calm down.
That's not a robot with a hammer, by the way. That was Noble's tail.
Yeah, you're a good dog, Noble.
Are you ready for this?
Oh, it smells all right. Noble, go lay down.
It always smells all right, but does it taste all right? Meh.
Honestly, I don't think it's terrible.
I mean, basically Sprite. With
Yeah.
Maybe
The Sprite with lemonade mixed in. It's like
it's Sprite that sat in the same room as a lemon.
no, it's honestly, I think it's pretty good.
Nothing wrong with it.
Like I'd maybe get another one of these. I'd probably get another one of these before I got a Sprite.
I mean, yeah.
Well, while we're-
Lemonade.
all right. Well, if you wanna open up the S'moreos, I'll open up the red, white, and blue Sour Patch Kids. I don't think there's anything too exciting with these Sour Patch Kids. I think they're just normal red, normal blue, and then maybe the white's a different color.
What are you saying? There's nothing special about celebrating the birth of our nation?
Pretty much.
Wow. You heard it here first. Communist J, ladies and gentlemen.
Meh. All right. What do you think of that S'moreo? Apparently, this is the second year they've been around. I think last year they called them S'more Oreos. And I think this year Nabisco got their shit together and realized, oh hey, the word's right there. We could just call them S'moreos. So that's what these are. But yeah,
Yep.
I'll try one of these Sour Patch Kids.
Oreo's really good. I like it.
It's hard to say. I can't tell if the red is the normal like red berry Sour Patch Kid, or if it's kind of different. But it's certainly it's not as good as those reindeer poop or what were they the Cole Sour Patch Kids. Those were really good. I think these are they're kind of fine. They're Sour Patch Kids. That's what they are.
Yeah, really nothing special, but not bad. Oreos definitely take it for me.
I think the white might be lemon. So I think it's probably their normal red, their normal blue, and then a lemon. But the S'moreos, they got a layer of chocolate stuff and a layer of I assume it's supposed to like imitate marshmallow stuff with a kind of a graham cracker cookie, the same kind of cookie they use on those graham cracker Oreos that Jeff and I like so much.
Oh, that's good. Here we have a taste of the Oreo. Chewing, observing, strong bite pattern.
Oh, not bad. I think these should be a reoccurring flavor every summertime. Like these are a blast.
Yeah, they're good.
Speaking of s'mores, have you had the s'more blizzard at Dairy Queen yet?
I have not tried it yet.
I think last year I liked the dirt pie blizzard a little better with the Oreo and like I think they put chocolate pudding powder and then gummy worms. I think I like that a little bit better. But the s'mores blizzard is not too bad. I asked them to go a little light on the chocolate because the chocolate pieces are pretty big. So like when I'm like, I think they put like 2 scoops or 3 scoops, and I like in a medium, and last time I was like, could you do like 1.5 scoops? And so it just because they're bigger, they're kind of bigger pieces. But I like the s'mores blizzard quite a bit this year. That's one worth checking out.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to try that.
But yeah, I guess rank these. Probably Sour Patch Kids are the worst because they're just kind of standard Sour Patch Kids, nothing special.
Yeah. For me, I'd go third place Sour Patch, second place Sprite, and first place the S'moreos.
No, I completely agree. These S'moreos are phenomenal. These are real good. If you can find them in stores, I'd pick up a package.
Definitely, yeah. Well, you still can.
Anything else?
No, not really.
For Garbage Day.
Closing in on 1 year here.
Yeah, we're
too much longer.
We're getting close. Hopefully, we've talked a bit. We got a bit of advice from a friend of mine, about kind of how to have guests on and stuff like that, and do kind of stuff over Skype and Zoom and whatnot. And so we're gonna try and figure that out in the new year after we hit our kind of 1 year anniversary.
We're coming for you, Mike.
Yeah, so we owe our good friend Mike Lombardo, the director of or the creator of I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday. We owe him a guest appearance, and then we also shout out to Matthew C. Dupay, I believe is how you pronounce his name, the writer of A Scary Little Christmas, who's basically our podcast but better, more well researched, smarter.
Whoa. Where is this guy from?
Can't I don't know. I think I can't. Hold on.
You better not be about to say what I think you're going to say.
Maryland.
Oh, thank God. That's getting pretty close to Canada, but he's not quite there.
But I mean, his book is full of insight. He sent us. I ordered a copy. He sent us a copy. Wrote that we're his favorite Christmas horror movie podcast. I mean, we're the only Christmas horror movie podcast, but hey, at least we're the favorite, right? So that's what's important.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'd love to have him on at some point in time, and we'll try to figure that out as well.
Well, he's our favorite horror movie history writer.
Yep. Honestly, he should probably, if we can figure it out, he should just be a permanent guest. He's clearly smarter than either of us about this subject.
No. If people figure out that he can do it better than us, no one's going to want us around.
Oh, shit, you're right. Never mind. Scratch all that. But other things to do, take note of. Certainly, I think fundraising, Indiegogoing for It's Me, Billy Part 2 is still going on. I think they're over halfway there.
Nice.
If you haven't backed it yet, certainly throw a little bit their way if you feel like it. Help get this movie made. Like we said last time we talked about it, Olivia Hussey's going to be in it. Like, that's awesome. The actress who played Claire in the first one is going to be in it. Like, this movie's going to be huge. I'm really excited for this. I don't think I've seen any other Christmas horror movies funding at the moment, so
I can't think of any I've seen.
But I do know that I believe this year, hopefully, I mean, who knows with what's going on in Hollywood.
True.
But I do know that there is a movie that's supposed to be coming out this year, I think from one of the people involved in Happy Death Day.
Oh, yeah.
Called It's a Wonderful Knife. And that I am very excited for.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Like that one I think is going to be a blast. We're starting to get into Code Orange territory. Halloween stuff starting to slowly creep onto shelves.
Yeah. And
so before we know it, it'll be Christmas time again, and these movies will start. Some new movies will start coming out, and Jeff and I will have to make our way to the theater to see, Krampus
Yes.
and some other movies in theaters.
We're
and stuff.
definitely going to have to be better about this this year than we were last year.
Yeah.
We missed too many.
But yeah, we'll keep our ear to the ground, and if you see something that we haven't talked about, get in touch with us. You can send us an email at horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com. You can get in touch with us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the Q app. We are at horror4 holidays. We're still waiting for that Blue Sky invite
Yep.
so we can get off Twitter.
When does that contract with the Daily Wire start that you were talking about before we got on here?
Never. What else? Follow us on YouTube.
Yep, youtube.com/horrorfortheholidays for all your audio backups / being able to download it if you pay for YouTube Premium.
Yep, subscribe there, hit the little bell, give us thumbs up.
Comment, Jeff and Jay are fat, Jeff
Yeah.
and Jay sound fat. Jeff and Jay, get your dog out of the recording studio.
Jeff and Jay, replace yourselves with the dog and just let the dog record for an hour or whatever and release that.
Oh, quick non-Christmas horror recommendation. Go see The Boogeyman while it's still in theaters. I think you'll enjoy it.
We were talking about that beforehand. The scene where the girl kind of gets put in the closet by her friends and then the boogeyman moves towards her.
Yep.
That I've heard people say I watched parts of this movie through my fingers and I've not done that for 5-10 years.
I think it's more, honestly, the title, it doesn't give it, I think, the weight that you're going to feel when you watch it. But I think you won't regret it if you go see it.
Yeah, I think more horror movies coming out every week. So keep an eye out there and certainly follow us on your podcatcher of choice. Give us a rate, review, subscribe there.
Honestly, at a time where a lot of other movies are kind of in a slump, and we're kind of have a dearth of good movies, I think horror the last few years has honestly been getting a lot of good releases.
There's a Shudder movie that came out today. We're recording on Friday. That kind of looks Assault on Precinct 13-y.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of want to check that out. And so that just came out today. And I mean, yeah, all sorts. I think The Blackening, that one looks like fun.
Oh, and in heartbreaking news for all horror fans, M3 2 has been delayed by the writer's strike.
No. Well, as soon as the studios decide to start paying these people the money that they're owed.
Oh, these people don't need money. What do they need money for in California?
Living, eating food. Yeah, what do they need money for?
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as we get this resolved, hopefully we can start getting more stuff because man, M3 was such a blast.
Maybe that'll be a Patreon special episode.
Oh man, yeah. Well, we need to. We'll hopefully we'll get into it more. I think we have plans to talk about stuff at our year anniversary.
Big plans after the 1 year anniversary. We might do some announcements around that time.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Oh, make sure you tell a friend. Word of mouth, certainly the best way I think to recommend a podcast to someone.
Yeah, just be like, you'll never believe how fat these two sound.
And for whatever reason, the content's kind of good.
Borderline.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Garbage day.
Boy, I'm so fat.
You got it?